Hi ladies, so today I'm going to show you a removal with one hand. So my right hand underneath has fortify, my left does not, because I did these two fingers during a live and I didn't put fortify on, but these two fingers do, and so we're gonna show you the difference. My other nails are removed and I have them soaking in cuticle nail oil, so if you're wondering why they're super shiny, that is why. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna do a removal just like we normally would. So taking your file and you're gonna rough up the polish. This polish is Chocolala 2 coats, and like I said, this hand does not have fortify, so it'll give everybody kind of an idea between the removals, what's normal, what's not. Sometimes I like to have fortify under mine, so when I do a video, usually the removal is pretty simple, and sometimes without fortify it's not as simple. So I thought I would show you kind of both at the same time, and you can decide for yourself if fortify as a base is something you might want. But it's also nice just to show you what a natural removal without that fortify underneath would look like. So I am using the white side, and then I have been going in afterwards with the gray side to get any spots that I might have missed closer to my cuticles and the sides of my nail usually, because I don't want to damage anything. So I try not to go too close to the edge with my white. I like to do that with the gray, but I like to try and buff it up as much as possible with the white to really kind of remove some of that top layer, and then I go in with the gray again just to remove anything. Another tip is to do your caps, so make sure you don't have any caps on when you go to remove. I'm going to be trimming my nails anyway, so I'm just going to do this, and that'll help remove the caps and get them prepped and ready to go. So remember, right has fortify, left does not. We are going to do flake off on our pinkies. I definitely should have put my other ones on first, but that's okay. Okay, and we'll do them at the same time and you can see. So nice thick coats, and just lather that on, and usually within like a couple minutes you can see it starting to work. While those are working, I'm going to get my remover pads on because I am going to show you both. So we'll just get those on. So tear here, I like to take this part off at the beginning, slide my finger in, fold it over, okay, get the other side in. So this is where we're at. Remember, this side has fortify, this side does not. Okay, so we're just gonna... So fortify is amazing as a base. It's a strengthener and a protector. So I like to use it as a base because I have very, very porous nails. So when I go to use my polish, it sticks really, really well, which is great for people who want to keep their polish on for a very long time. But for me, like, I'm changing it up so often that I need to be able to take it off easily. So having that as a base, it helps protect my nails when I go to remove the polish, and just keeps everything a little more simple and easy for myself. Okay, so we're just sticking these on. I, of course, don't have a timer, which is always my mistake when I do a video. Okay, so just take a look at those. Okay, actually, I do have a timer. 1 second. Set a timer for my nails. for these ones with the clips, we're gonna do 6 minutes and then we'll check on it. Because it's only 2 coats of polish, so 6 minutes should be more than enough. And I'm gonna start working on these ones very soon. Just gonna give them another minute or so. As you can see, when I use Fortify underneath, it gets kind of this bubbly. You can see it lifting. When I use it just on the nail without Fortify, it tends to kind of soften the polish and you have to like take it off a layer at a time very gently. So we will do that together on video. And these will most likely be the same. Usually with Fortify underneath, this will just most likely come off. When I pull it off, it'll just slide right off. This one will take a little bit more work. It softens the polish, but it doesn't usually just slide off the same way. So very similar for these. What we're gonna do is gently push off the polish. So this was flake off with the Fortify base. Just coming off gently. Trying not to push too hard, no pressure. Okay. Almost always I need to reapply, usually on the edges of my nails. That is normal for me. But I usually just take off anything that will come off and then I go back in after. So don't be scared to do this. I always like to go in and, sorry if you can see, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Just put a little bit more flake off on the spots that are still there. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on the tip because I have some there. Okay, and now we're gonna move to the other side. Let's see. So as you can see, it's softened it, but it's not coming off the same way. But this is still normal. You just gotta be very gentle. You don't want to be scraping into your nail. That side is pretty tough still. Whereas this side was just kind of like coming off with the... I'm barely putting pressure. I'm just seeing, because if I don't put pressure on this side, nothing's coming up. But when I do the same thing over here, some of it's coming off. So it just has to do with maybe I put more flake off on one side than I did the other. So that's what we're going to stop at. We're going to add more on. It's all about preserving your nails, trying to make sure you're being careful, gentle, no pressure, no scraping at your nail. You're going to dig into your natural nail if you do that. So just keep it careful, gentle, add more, take your time. Unfortunately, the removal is not going to be as fast as the application. If you're new to GelMoment, that is one thing I like to make sure people understand. It's more of the convenience of being able to do it at home when it comes to removal rather than it being a fast removal. Because we still want to be gentle and take our time and be careful. I'm going to open a cleanser while I'm waiting so I can cleanse my cuticle pusher as I go. Okay, so the first side that had that Fortify on, let's just go back in and take a look. So now, because I reapplied on the edges, it's all pretty soft. Sorry, I'm tapping the phone. And just gonna come off. This is also my non-dominant that I'm using, so I'm trying to be very careful. Sometimes because it's my non-dominant, I'm a little more rough on this side. I'm trying to be super careful. It's normal. It happens. Okay, let's see here. So this one's almost done. I had a little bit underneath that I'm going to try and get off. Again, it's because I'm using my opposite hand. It's a little too bad. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll give it a wipe when I go to wipe my other nail. Let's take a look back at the first side. That had no fortify. So as this is starting to soften, it's now coming off. A little bit at a time. And we need to be careful. We don't want to dig in to your natural nail. I like to just kind of rub it off, I guess, so to speak. It doesn't come off as flaky, but it still softens it enough that you can get it off. Oh, my timer's up. Hold on. Okay. Just gonna finish this one and then I'll take a look at those guys. Okay. I always have it under my nails from when I cap, and then it drives me nuts. So there's still a little bit. I might do one thin coat of flake off because I don't want to scrape at that and I don't want to wreck it. That's another reason I find I like the fortify underneath, because it adds like kind of a layer of protection, so you're less likely to dig in and wreck your nail. So we're just gonna go over those little problem spots with more fortify. If you get it on your skin, just wipe it off if it's possible. You don't want to cause a reaction. If you just keep putting it on in the same spot, it might have a reaction. So let's do our fortify side. So that is with fortify. As you can see, it's pretty much just coming up itself. Amazing. Pretty much all came off just by soaking it for the 6 minutes. So a little bit around the edges if I can get it off. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so that side's good for both. As I said, I usually have fortify as a base, and that's usually why, because it's just so much quicker and easier. I have a little bit to clean up to do, but we're going to check out this side. Was the remover pads with no fortify underneath. So it's very similar to how my flake off looked. It just kind of softens it up. And then you just gotta slowly work your way at it. Take a little bit at a time. If you need to, just pop your finger back in. So that's probably what I'm gonna do once I take some of this off, because I don't want to wreck anything. So, messy. And just put your finger back in, tighten it back up. Move on to the next one. So this is why I almost always suggest doing fortify as a base. It's not ideal because we are a one step, so it does add an extra step. What is nice about it is, for me, I like to remove my polish one day and apply the next day. Sometimes it's just too much to do it all at once. So I will usually remove shape and do all that I want to do with my nails. So shape it, shorten it, whatnot. Add Fortify onto my nails, and then wait, and the following day I'll go in and I'll do my polish. So I give my nail some time to breathe. Not that they overly... It's not bad to go straight back to polish every time, but I like to give them a day or so to kind of soak up that Fortify, and it also can be time consuming if I'm sitting and doing it all at once. Okay. Now I'm going to take my cleanser, I'm going to give that a wipe and see if it's all off. Looking pretty good. Cleanse it all up. So that one's done now. And I'm gonna wipe my hands over here because I didn't do that the first time. Good. Looks like I have dirt under my nail from the Chocolala. I'll be getting that off after this video. Okay. We're just gonna give this another minute. But you can kind of see the difference. So if you don't get the flaking kind of thing that we tend to say flake off flakes the way it does when you have Fortify underneath, it doesn't always. That being said, there are people who get that flaking sensation even though they don't have Fortify underneath. So it is possible to get that flake. But for me, if I don't have Fortify underneath, then it just softens the polish. So again, just really gently going in, kind of working off that polish. It's starting to... What I'm gonna do is cleanse. Sometimes cleansing kind of helps see what's loose, what's there. Some might come off. Another thing you can do when you're at this stage is gently buff it, because it might just like gently buff some of that like polish off that's sitting on the top layer. But I try not to over buff because over buffing can be really bad for your nails. Okay. So it looks pretty good since I cleansed it and give a little buff. Most of it is off. And that is the difference between removals when you have Fortify or not Fortify. Otherwise, right, you end up with the same result. Your polish is off. It just might take a little bit longer, a little bit more patience. If you think maybe Fortify is for you, again, you would, here it is, put it on, try to wait 24 hours if you can, wait a couple hours if you can't wait, and then once your Fortify is on, you just treat it like your natural nail and paint right over top of it. There is a little bit of possibility it might not last quite as long because there is something between your nail and your like polish, but I've never had that issue. So that is tonight's video, and thank you for watching.